Kid just got one-shotted, but he isn't done yet. He will team up with Blackbeard. The two will assault Celestial Dragons and take Saint Charlos hostage when Luffy attacks the Navy. Blackbeard constantly tries to gain from conflicts around him. When Whitebeard attacked the Navy, Teach infiltrated Impel Down and recruited level 6 prisoners. When Akainu had almost killed Whitebeard, he finished his former captain and stole the Quake Fruit. When a Navy fleet tried to capture Hancock, he tried to take her Devil Fruit. When Big Mom went to Wano to assault Luffy, Teach sent Kuzan and Orga to her territory to abduct Pudding. A new opportunity for him to profit in this manner will soon appear, better than all the former. Marineford 2.0. Emperor Luffy will attack Fleet Admiral Akainu. The full force of the Navy will be deployed to defend against Luffy's allies. Like last time, the strongest marines from all over the world will be concentrated at HQ. They won't have the capabilities to defend others elsewhere, as long as the battle goes on. Blackbeard won't cause a second Impel Down mass breakout. He has assembled his crew already. He and Kid will cause a second God Valley incident. Just like Rox and Whitebeard, Teach and Kid will go after Celestial Dragons. Blackbeard named his ship the Saber of Xebec. If he really wants to follow in Xebec's footsteps, he has to repeat Rox's most heinous crime, laying hands on the gods. As I recounted at the beginning, Blackbeard tried to steal Hancock's fruit recently. She got that fruit from the World Nobles when she was their slave. World Nobles forced the future pirate emperors to eat that fruit just for their entertainment. They could waste such a powerful devil fruit because they have many more. Devil fruit hunter Blackbeard will feel like a child in a candy store. When Luffy fights Akainu, Zoro, Sanji and Sabo will fight the Admirals. Those few marines that guarantee the safety of the World Nobles will all be busy. The threat that an Admiral will be sent if a Celestial Dragon gets hurt is what deters people. When Blackbeard assaults the Nobles, no Admiral will be available. Roger's greatest foe was Rox. He stopped that man. Roger also had a lifelong rival, Whitebeard. Luffy has two such enemies too, mortal enemy Blackbeard and main competitor Kid. The only two people with whom Luffy behaves competitively. In Jaya, Luffy tried to order more pieces of meat than Blackbeard ordered cherry pies. In the Udon prison, Luffy tried to lift more than Kid. Blackbeard is so dangerous that he has to be stopped. He won't be around later. Kid, on the other hand, might be there for the long haul, like Whitebeard. Kid is named after William Kidd, who was incarcerated in the Newgate prison, after which Edward Whitebeard Newgate is named. During the God Valley incident, Whitebeard was a Rocks pirate. Because Kid is Luffy's Whitebeard, he will end up working with the modern Rocks, Blackbeard, during God Valley 2.0. Chapter 1079 just came out. Shanks easily defeated Kid, destroyed his ship, and took his pornoglyphs. The ship was named after Kid's childhood crush. Perhaps he mourns it as much as Usopp mourned the Mary. His anger will make him postpone his dream of becoming Pirate King. Only enacting revenge on Shanks will be on his mind, whatever it takes. The logical next step for him then would be to team up with Shanks' biggest enemy. Blackbeard was intending to steal Kid's pornoglyphs not so long ago, but Shanks took them first, so Blackbeard has no reason left to fight with Kid. They can work together. Kid is proud. He didn't bow to Kaido. He won't bow to Teach. I'm just talking about an alliance. Kid entered those before. Hatred for Shanks will create an alliance that will attack the World Nobles, like the Rocks pirates once did. This would fit perfectly because Shanks is tied to the God Valley incident, perhaps a victim of it. He was found on God Valley in a treasure chest. This was revealed in film Red, where it also was implied that Shanks is a Celestial Dragon. After Teach and Kid have dealt with this particular Celestial Dragon, they will come for the others as well. At Marineford, Blackbeard declared that he wants to rule the world. Rocks had the same goal. The World Nobles rule at the moment, so they need to be shoved aside. Not sure if Kid wants to make Blackbeard the king of the world, but he surely thinks better of him than of the current rulers. At Sabaody, he said that the villains of the world look tame in comparison to the ones ruling the world. In his vivre card, it was mentioned that he set out to be a pirate in part to oppose the world government. Kid considers himself Luffy's rival, even if most on social media don't. He desperately wants to catch up to Luffy. Straw Hat became an emperor and he didn't. One other thing that Luffy did and he didn't is punch a Celestial Dragon. Kid voiced his dislike for the Celestial Dragons, but had too much respect for the admirals to touch them. Luffy didn't care and knocked Charlos out. Kid might want to do the same and more. He is a lot more violent than our protagonist. At the archipelago, he was disgusted by them buying humans. His idea of justice is probably akin to an eye for an eye, to enslave the slaver. He won't just punch him, he will put a chain around Charlos' neck. Even if Kid starts to work with Blackbeard, most would still deny that he is the modern Whitebeard. Kid wanted to become Pirate King. Whitebeard could have become Pirate King but chose not to. Kid is a lot weaker than Luffy. Whitebeard and Roger were equals. Kid is violent. Whitebeard prevented violence, for example in Fishman Island. None of these objections hold up. After Shanks crushed him, revenge became more important to him than finding Laugh Tale. Whitebeard probably wasn't interested in the One Piece because it ties in with the D clan, of which he wasn't part of. Kid is also not a D, contrary to his fellow 3 billion pirates Law and Luffy. He will realize that Laugh Tale isn't his business and find another goal. He will still be motivated to catch up to Luffy, which he eventually will. Whitebeard wasn't always Roger's equal. He wasn't when the God Valley incident took place, because he was serving under Rocks, who was defeated by Roger. Kid just has to be Luffy's equal at the end of the series to make the parallel work. The Whitebeard we got to see was a decent guy who wouldn't abuse the weak, but that was mature Whitebeard. We have no idea how violent he was as a young man, though we have an idea of his upbringing, and it resembled Kid's quite a lot. Kid and Whitebeard had similar childhoods. They were orphans growing up on islands that were not under the protection of the world government. Kid's backstory was revealed in an SBS. His country was ruled by multiple gangs. The one at the top killed his childhood crush, so he united the lesser gangs and toppled the ruling one. After his victory, he set sail to enter the Grand Line. Whitebeard's home, Swings, had government protection at first, but then lost it because they couldn't make the payment. He became a pirate at an early age to support his village. Because their homelands were poor, the world government chose to withhold protection, which made Kid and Whitebeard grow up in violent chaos. As children, they had to learn to fight out of necessity. Both likely blamed the world government for their traumatic experiences. They must especially hate the Celestial Dragons, who never had to learn to defend themselves, who grew up with the best protection imaginable, and who spent their days wasting money. No wonder Whitebeard was willing to assault them. There are many fans who assume that Whitebeard, because he was a good guy, betrayed Rocks on God Valley and fought on Roger and Garp's side. That makes no sense to me. He had deep personal reasons to attack world nobles, just like Kid has. I have talked a lot about the perpetrators of God Valley 2.0. Now to the victims. Charlos is the Celestial Dragon we have seen most of, the one that triggers the strongest emotions in the audience, strong negative emotions. Of course, he will be among Blackbeard's prey. Victimizing such an unlikable, irredeemable character will make the moral lesson clear. No one deserves to be enslaved, not even Saint Charlos, the worst person you could think of. Luffy, just like us, hates the guy, but he is legendary liberator Sun God Nika now. He can't not liberate someone. Perhaps being saved will make Charlos change. He could become a good guy afterwards, like Saint Miosgard, who knocked him out during the reverie, similar to how Luffy did it. Luffy saved former villains before. He set Crocodile free from Impel Down. He even invited Frankie, who had stolen from and beat up Usopp, to join his crew. The most important example though is Bellamy, who parallels Charlos in many ways. Both were knocked out with just one punch. Luffy did that even though he had been told not to fight. Nami had told him not to start anything in Mocktown, and Hachan had begged him not to attack a Celestial Dragon. Zoro directed his blade against Bellamy's throat, but stood down when he realized Luffy's intentions. In Sabaody, he almost sliced through Charlos, but Bonnie pushed him to the ground before. Luffy snapped when they hurt his friends. Bellamy had robbed Cricket. Charlos shot Hachan. Bellamy was an underling of Doflamingo, who wanted to take Imu's place. Being a Celestial Dragon makes Charlos an underling of Imu. Bellamy acquired the nickname, the Bullet of Dressrosa, after he had brought Doffy a pillar of gold from Skypiea. Charlos shot bullets out of a golden pistol. Even though Bellamy did his best to serve Doflamingo, including fighting Luffy again when ordered, Doffy didn't value him. He used him as a human shield and later told Dellinger to dispose of him. Luffy had to save Bellamy. Because Charlos mirrors Bellamy, he will also be victimized before Luffy's eyes, who will come to his aid. Some things will be inverted though. Bellamy, a pirate, was tormented by Celestial Dragon Doflamingo. Celestial Dragon Charlos will get tormented by pirates Blackbeard and Kid. God Valley was where Garp became the hero of the Navy. He helped Roger defeat Rocks. I don't believe they fought in a tag team. Garp likely defeated other Rocks pirates, while Roger took on the captain. Luffy's Garp is Smoker. He might be who the world government sends to help Charlos when Marineford 2.0 is over. The admirals might have been defeated by then. Luffy and his crew will take care of Blackbeard and the Titanic captains. That would leave Kid as Smoker's opponent. Tashigi would fight Killer.